because I have no idea what to do for next Let's Play. Just taking a list of all the games I've yet to play with, because Steam has sales and it takes me a while to get to some of these. I'll just list some of these out by games I've never played before, games I've played too much and probably would not be good Let's Plays, games that are a little bit too open-ended for a Let's Play to work without a huge amount of audience participation, and games that, well, I'll list them, probably won't work because they're either too old or have had graphics problems. Games I've never played. Alpha Protocol. I played it for actually about half an hour. I didn't get very far into it. By all accounts, it's a very open-ended game, bounded by a lot of linear choices, but it seems to be very good, very popular among people who like replayability in a game. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. Again, I played it a little bit. I didn't get very far because the computer I was playing it on crashed, and I've not restarted it yet. Horror game, very, very good. Up there with System Shock 2 easily. There's some problems towards the end, I've heard. Not actually gotten that far yet, but still ultimately a very good game, and probably very good if you want to, watch me run around and scream. Dead Space. Steam says I've played it for about 90 minutes, and I've actually not played it for anywhere near that long. There's a lot of graphical problems getting the game to work. The foreground objects are rendering in the background, and background objects are rendering in the foreground, and when I finally sorted that out, then I got to the actual gameplay and finding out that, regular mouse movement and the aim movements are two different movements, or movement speeds, and it took me multiple times to try and find something that was actually workable, and when I did, I discovered that Steam has sales and they also have Disciples. So that was that for a while. The Deus Ex games, the original ones, not the Human Revolution one, Deus Ex 1 and its expansion pack, Invisible War. I played it for maybe about 5 minutes just to see what it was like, and never got back into it because I believe Space Marine was released shortly thereafter, and, well, that was more important in the long run. Oblivion. Played for a very, very, very short period of time, and really was not enamored of it. Not like I was with Morrowind. Morrowind immediately sucked me in. Oblivion looked like generic, RPG. Didn't really care for much of it, other than Patrick Stewart's voice acting, but he's Patrick Stewart. I could probably do an Oblivion game quite well. I still need a fair amount of audience participation because I know there's a lot of quests and, what side to pick and what to do. Fear 1, the extraction point into Perseus Mandate, and Fear 2. If anyone wants me to pick up any of these, start playing at any one of these points, feel free to vote for, either the whole series or just one in particular. I played it very, very briefly. I wanted an FPS because I was getting a little sick of RTSs at the time. Really hard, but really good. At least it's fair. You headshot an opponent, you kill them, they headshot you, you're dead just as fast, so at least it's fair. The Gothic series, 1, 2, and 3. I've not played Gothic in name only, and I'm probably never going to. I played the demo to Gothic 3, but I've not actually installed any of these games yet because I've got a ton of these because Steam has sales. They do look very good, very hard but fair. I think that's a pretty common thing coming out of Europe now. The games are all hard, but they're ultimately fair. Magicka. Played probably for about 2 hours or so. Definitely a Twitch game. I never really got the hang of it all that well. I could probably if I spent more time onto it, but I just never did because I think I drifted off to another game. Mass Effect 1 and 2. Don't have 3 yet. Probably not going to get it until it goes under $10 because I've heard about the ending. I've played them for a very, very brief period of time. I'm not particularly enamored of it. It may not be something that's marketed towards games that a game I normally like anyway, so there's that. Metro 2033, another horror game in kind of the vein of Stalker and Call of Cthulhu. I haven't played it yet. Does look very, very good. I've seen a couple Let's Plays. Definitely the kind of game I go for. Overlord 1 and 2, I've also got Raising Hell, the expansion pack on number 1. Played the demo to number 1, was not particularly impressed with it, especially the line that essentially told me not to be evil, and that's why I wanted the game, is to be this horrible, evil, murdering bastard, and if it's going to tell me not to do that, I'm not going to be terribly interested in it. The Painkiller series, another FPS I have not gotten around to yet. I played the demo, loved it. The weapons versatility is just impressive. I love running around with what amounts to a superpowered weed whacker and tearing everything apart. One of the few reviews Yahtzee's actually got very, very good. Spellforce 1 and 2, it's an RTS, so I don't know how well it'd work for a Let's Play. There's a little bit of distance between, the action and what you're doing. I've not played them a great deal, and I know to effectively do it, you have to usually sink a fair amount of time into figuring the game mechanics out. The Witcher, first one. I played the demo, very good, but in the beginning it starts off really, really slow. I think the playthrough I started, I ran out of money very early on, and well, if you want to do anything, it has to be during the day, and this is in the middle of the night, so running around waiting for the sun to rise is going to take a while. Still, probably a very good idea. RPGs seem to be very good for Let's Plays in general, as there's a fair amount of audience participation rather than just poking around and running through a linear corridor. Games I've played fairly extensively, but nowhere near to the games I claim never to have played, and actually played a fair bit of them for a little while anyway. Bastion, very, very, very pretty game. Beautiful soundtrack as well. I strongly recommend it. I've gotten more than halfway through the game now, which is probably why I've lumped it into the played section. I could start over. It's a very good game, made by an indie studio, I believe. There's no real versatile RPG mechanics to it. It's pretty much just a straight run and bash, but I could do a Let's Play on it, if nothing else than just different weapons challenges. Batman Arkham Asylum, I hated the boss fights so much. I got to the end of the game, there's just one more left, I don't want to subject myself to that anymore because they've all sucked up to this point. I'd rather play Nemiroth. I'd rather fight Olkar again with one character. I hated the boss fights in this game that much. Everything else I didn't have much of a problem. The puzzles were pathetically easy. I don't know anything about Batman, and I got all of them without looking a single one of them up online. Bioshock 1 and 2. About a quarter of the way through Bioshock 1 and completely beat 2. Bioshock 1 didn't impress me because it was trying to be System Shock 2 really, really, really hard, and I don't like the needle jab animation. This is the one thing that'll freak me out. I'll watch any other kind of horror show, the instant a needle pops out, I'm done. I like Bioshock 2 better because it wasn't trying to be System Shock 2, so at least it would stand on its own merits. Divinity Dragon Knight Saga. Put about 20 hours into it. The difficulty seems to be all over the place. Some scenes are really, really easy, and some are just murderously hard. There's a fair amount of RPG elements to it. The story does seem a little interesting. I just wish the tooltips would not give massive spoilers for the rest of the game away. Dragon Age. I played this one for a while. I liked it, then I stopped playing it, and I'm not quite sure why. I think this is getting to be a common thing among BioWare games. I play them, I like them, then for some reason I stop and I never come back. I've played it a fair bit. I've got most of the characters in one of the playthroughs. I'm not sure if I could do this one or not because I remember looking at the disc and thinking I saw a crack there, but I'll double check. I'll put it into the comments if I did find the disc to be cracked. Divide and Cybermancy. This game is fun. It's a European surrealist game. One thing I do want to point out is the entire currency in the game is called brosifs, so you have a bro-based economy. This is the kind of game it is, where it's a mixture of Warhammer 40,000 and some demented cartoon. It's absolutely hilarious. Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2, I have all the expansion packs on 1 except for I think the last one, which is Kingmaker, and the expansion pack for 2, Mask of the Betrayer, I don't have Stormrosy here. I've played Neverwinter Nights 1 a lot, though not terribly far because I have this bad habit of re-rolling another character after I've played for a while. Something similar in 2. If I were to do a Let's Play, I think Mask of the Betrayer would work better than Neverwinter Nights 2 Vanilla. Wasn't particularly impressed with the plot line, and I absolutely hate that last character whose name eludes me, but she starts every sentence with "know that." I'll probably go mad if I have to listen to her for any length of time again. Vampire Masquerade. I've played this a lot. Also have the same problem with Neverwinter Nights, that I still re-roll another character after playing it for a short while. Not actually managed to beat it because I get bored of a certain character, then start all over. Great deal of versatility in it. Malkavian playthrough is absolutely hilarious. XCOM, absolutely brutally hard. This is like getting a sledgehammer to the groin and being told you have to run 300 miles in about 5 minutes or you're going to be brutally murdered. XCOM is still probably harder. I've played it a lot, so I know what the game mechanics are, so you won't see me die over and over and over. Well, you'll just see me die over and over. Games I've played too much to make a good Let's Play because I know where everything's at, or I know the mechanics too well, and I'd probably metagame even if I don't want to. Darksiders, I've gotten about 3/4 of the way to this game. I stopped because I fell through the scenery, and I was tired of this. 5 times in 15 hours, this is far too much. Disciples 2. I've played it a fair bit, mostly as undead though. It's a turn-based strategy game, so I don't know how well that would work for a Let's Play. There's not a great deal of long-term choices you have to make that really mean much. Disciples 3 and its expansion pack Resurrection. I'm still not getting this hex grid thing terribly well, and that's probably going to kill any Let's Play I do for it. I also don't like their art direction. This is a game series that did not need to go 3D. 2D was absolutely beautiful. 3D is just clunky and ugly. Morrowind. I've played this a lot, probably close to about 100 hours. Because of the sheer volume of add-ons you can get onto here, I think it would just take too long to figure out which ones exactly I should have. Too much choice between which house to get, what factions to join, what to do. Unless there's a huge amount of audience participation, I don't see any kind of Elder Scrolls game working tremendously well. Supreme Commander 2. It sucks. I got about 4 hours into this game and I wanted to stop. I didn't like Supreme Commander 1 principally because it was just so divorced from the action. I was just literally just looking at dots, firing smaller dots at others, small dots, and just not caring what happened. The idea is okay, it's just I didn't feel any personal involvement with the dots running around. And the entire Dawn of War series. I've probably sunk over 600-700 hours into it, Dawn of War 1 and 2 included. I don't see a Let's Play of this working terribly well, as I know the game inside and out, front and back. Dawn of War 2 might be better, as there's multiple ways to play through it, but I've sunk huge amounts of times through it. It might work better as like a walkthrough for particular hard-to-beat scenarios like Ulcare, but I don't see it working terribly well. I just know it too much. Games that are just too open-ended. Dwarf Fortress. If anyone's ever played it, it's an ASCII game. Haven't played it, it's an ASCII roguelike. There's a huge amount of choice in what you can do and what you cannot do. Even with a huge amount of audience participation, I don't see this working terribly well because there's no win condition. I could just be conceivably playing this for the next 15 years. It just might end on the first invasion because I get nothing but Goblin Crossbowmen, and that's that. Minecraft. Again, yeah, it sort of does have a win condition now, but it's very open-ended. You could do pretty much anything you want, and this would probably work more like an update of what I'm just doing in Minecraft at this particular instant, but for a long playthrough, there's a huge amount of busy work you need to do just to make sure your farm's working, or just mining for stuff. I don't see it working terribly well. Most of the other Let's Plays I've seen through Minecraft have pretty much come to the same conclusion. You're just taking choice moments or showing what they've been doing, but not playing it continuously. Stalker Series, Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky, and Call of Pripyat. Yeah, it's like Minecraft in a way. Yeah, there's an end point, but there's a huge amount of choices you have in order to get there, and if you don't even really have to be bothered if you don't want to. The bugs in Clear Sky don't help. I've heard all kinds of horror stories about it. I could try. I don't think it'd work terribly well. The X Series, 1, 2, and 3, and all its expansion packs. X Series is a 4X game. If you don't know what that means, the X stands for the number of buttons you have on your keyboard. You're going to want 4 times that many. Now I'm going to try video editing here, and what I'm going to put up on here is the manual for all the buttons on here. And no, that's not a joke. 2 full pages, everything covered. I'd spend about 3 or 4 hours just trying to figure out how to control anything, and I don't see people watching me bumbling around trying to figure out what button to fire missiles while I'm under attack. It's going to work terribly well. Games that may not work. Dreamfall, and its a sequel, Longest Journey. I've had all kinds of problems playing these games. There's all kinds of graphical glitches. There doesn't seem to be much that can be do because they're just very old and not really designed to work on modern hardware. And since when I bought them, and now I've upgraded to Windows 7, so I don't even know if they'll play, period. System Shock 2. I have not gotten this game to work in 8 years. And this was on this XP that was a lot closer to what the operating system was released on. And even then I had to downgrade my graphics drivers. I don't know how well it'll work on a graphics card this powerful on Windows 7 64-bit. I'll really try, but I don't think it's going to work. I haven't gotten it to work in a long time, and I don't think it'll work now. That's a list of all the games I've got, so if anyone would like to leave any comments about, games you'd like me to play, or if there's something not on this list and it's fairly cheap and I could, pick it up quite easily, I wouldn't mind doing that either. But feel free to vote for whatever you'd like. I'll let this run for about a week or so, and then whatever gets the most votes, I'll do that. Until then, bye.